Hello and welcome to Hey, I Loved That Movie, the podcast where we rewatch the films we loved when we were younger to see if they still hold up. I'm Dan.
I'm Michael.
I'm Helena.
And for this episode, we have special guest returning. It's Mack from Pointless Reinvention.
Yeah, it's me. We're going to talk about Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, and I'm very sorry. I want to say just off the start,
Vroom.
our theme song in this film, but that's about it.
Oh, the music slaps. Power Rangers music always slaps. It's never not been good. It's the rest of it.
So
Power
was
Rangers
this
music is
one
great.
of the Power Rangers movies you'd watched a lot as a kid as well? Or?
Yeah, I have real memories of loving this as a kid, right? So whenever I was like, oh, we'll do number 2, I was like, it'll just be the same thing. It'll not have a very coherent plot, but it'll be interesting at least. Fucking, this is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. Right?
I think
So
I've
just to
been
check,
watching...
it doesn't have a coherent plot, does it? Because I
No.
was sat there like,
Not at all.
did I fall asleep and miss half an hour? Like,
But-
what's
How
happening?
nice what that would have been.
In my head, I was alright. The first one is like, it's obviously like very, very simple, but it's like, you know, lose their powers, go somewhere, get new powers, come back, fight bad guy, right? Pretty simple.
Yeah.
This one will be probably the same. It's just a big episode of. This makes no fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
Like
It's-
I actually angered me watching it, right? And this a little peek behind the curtain. I was texting or messaging Dan, being like, "Hey, just so you know, it's on YouTube, so you can watch it for free." And I watched it for like 20 minutes, and it was in 360p, and I was like, "This is it's awful. I can't watch it." But then I was like, "I am not paying £3 to watch this piece of shit." So I just refused. I watched the whole thing in 360p. That probably made me more angry. But I refused to give any money to this movie because it was the worst film I've ever seen.
There were two uploads of it, and one of them was
One of them was
just
decent.
slightly better than the other.
Yeah, one of them was actually decent. You watched the bad one.
I
mean, both were
By
bad.
decent, it was like 480.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, to be fair...
I would have given it for 4.
Yeah, it only occurred to me that was the case after I'd watched half the film. So it was the there's a very dark bit, and I just couldn't see what was going on, and I was like, there must be a better quality upload.
I got to that dark bit, and I just sat there, like, kind of thankful for just
accepted it.
nothingness for
Watching the 8 grey pixels move
Yeah.
around the screen.
Yeah.
Really
Well-
loud audio.
To be fair, I think watching it in 360p would have been better, because then you don't have to see the disgusting motherfucker that is Lerigo. I have such an insane hatred for that fucking thing, and I don't know why.
So vaguely, the plot is Lerigo has the key to a dimension that opens up a sort of hell dimension.
I don't
Yeah.
know, right? Because the whole thing.
He's a wizard.
Yeah.
He's a
Okay.
wizard that looks like an Oompa Loompa fucked an
No,
Ewok.
he is.
It looks like an old school troll.
I
Yeah.
said it looks kind of like if Furby was a Pokemon. That was his third evolution. Right?
See, I just kept
sense.
calling him store brand Ewok.
Yeah.
He is Tesco's Basics Ewok. Is what I ended up.
Quite an impressive sort of puppet thing, though, and
Yeah.
I thought he was kind of cute.
A funny thing I found out, you know how like his kids in this film, it's like a wee baby Lerigo or whatever. Apparently, during filming, when they were bored, the cast would just throw the baby around. 'Cause
Yes.
they would just like stand in a circle and chuck him around between each other because they had nothing to do. Between takes.
So yeah, Lerigo is this magic store brand Ewok. Has magical powers and never fully explained. I don't want them to either. I'm okay with them never talking about that character again. Has a magic wand that it has to use, and honestly not the most interesting part of the film, that character, but can summon a demon because it trapped a demon. I don't know. Wasn't fully paying attention to that bit.
Yeah, I must admit, there was like it had the Star Wars-esque introduction, which I think that was at the last film as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because this is my total
Yeah.
like the summation of my Power Rangers experiences.
Yeah, I've never
so-
seen any of those either, so...
But yeah,
Yeah.
it did say something at the start, but by the end, my brain was such a sort of weird
I wasn't reading.
mess that I couldn't.
You
tell
don't
a
have to read
single
it.
thing
The guy
that was
reads it
said.
out for you.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I do know why this film was such a mess storyline wise, though, because it got edited. The script got edited so much, and so much got taken out and added as it was being filmed, and it was edited afterwards. A lot of stuff was taken and removed, and just given to the TV show to make. So a lot of the stuff that was meant to be in the film wasn't.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I read Tom, like, is it Jason David Frank or something plays Tommy, like the,
I don't know.
the main Power Ranger guy.
Yeah, not the White Ranger this time.
No, thankfully not. He had like a whole big interview once where he was like, the original cut of Turbo was 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Jesus
And it was shown to just them, and they were like, "This is no good," and they cut it down to this, and all the extra footage was just deleted.
I
So
thought
they-
it was put
like,
in.
Was it not put into Turbo Power Rangers?
Yeah, no, but like the specifically like scenes like the bit whenever like they're on like the weird submarine and like Tommy and Kimberly swim off, and then for some reason they're tired on the beach, but Bulk and Skull are fine. There's a whole bit between that where an established character that appears in like the first half hour of the film, which is a magic mermaid, saves Bulk and Skull but doesn't save Tommy and Kimberly. And it's like it sounds fucking insane. And Jason was like I know Power Rangers isn't very good, but I mean even for us.
Yeah. Oh god, this film is a mess. So yeah, the two of the Power Rangers, the two people on the submarine were Power Rangers, right?
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
the original Red.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if these were the same Rangers as the last movie we watched.
No.
Some were.
Kimberly is the pink one from the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason is like the original Red Ranger, but he was not in the last film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there's a group of Rangers. They get a new suit stuff based around cars, which was
And they use the cars 2 times in the
Insane.
entire fucking movie.
yeah. But what's important? So yeah, no. Importantly, the Blue Ranger gets knocked out at a taekwondo competition.
Oh yeah, Rocky. He like
Um,
somehow jumps out of a boxing ring and injures his back like a dumb fuck. And then his little kid brother, who we're first introduced to on the most annoying bit because they're on the school bus and all the kids are just singing row, row, row,
Yeah.
and they just the same line over and over and
Yeah.
over. And I'm like, fucking London, he's
You
so
know how that scene is sort of cut with what's his name, Lingera? That's
There we go.
Larigo.
Larigo.
Him sort of zapping his way to Earth.
Yeah.
For a second, I really thought that he was gonna like crash into that bus, and then I realized there was a main character on it, and I was like, it's probably not the
Yeah.
tone they're going for.
But like
That would have been
scene-
much better. Lerigo would have died.
Yeah, but
That
scene
is all I
would-
wished for.
No, for if Lerigo had died, the whole nothing bad would have happened. Right? The film would have been over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been it.
If he'd died, they wouldn't have been able to open the gate to hell, and we'd have been
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Power
Yeah.
Rangers would have got to keep their cool Zords instead of getting one of them gets a minivan.
Yeah.
One of them does get a minivan. Yeah, importantly, Larigo is teleported to Earth. I don't think that's ever explained why, but there are wolves around.
Well, he knows that it's watched over by, is it Zion?
Zordon.
Zordon. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Zion, slightly different. So, from what I could tell, he knew that he'd be able to have friends on Earth
Yeah.
that would be able to protect him. So it was
But-
basically chancing his luck on the Power Rangers.
Yeah, but he
But the
landed in
sun-
Africa.
And the sun was killing him. From what I
Yeah.
remember, they were like, the sun is killing
Yeah,
him.
the sun was killing him, which sucks because he landed in Africa. And while he
Yeah.
was in Africa, the sun didn't kill him, the lion didn't tear him to shreds, and the chimps didn't tear him to shreds either, so I was
'cause
immensely
he's friend-
disappointed.
That's because he's friends with all the animals. I just like that a Zordon, this brilliantly intelligent creature, went, put him on Earth. The air is poisoned to him, but he'll be fine.
He's like opposite Superman.
The planet itself will kill him. He'll be fine.
Yeah. That's what I sort of last remember. And then I
Yeah.
feel like I had some sort of seizure, and then they were on a boat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
yeah, because
so
there's
lucky
weird
you don't remember
tit-
the
there's
bit in between.
weird
You're
tits
s-
woman who's trying to do something.
Diva Talk, she's called. She is the reason the film is a PG and not a G rated because of her costume. Genuinely,
Yeah.
it is. Like they were like, you'll have to like reshoot some of the scenes with her, and the studio couldn't be bothered, so they just let it be a PG instead of like a children's.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, also just far worse than Rita Repulsa. Far more boring.
Yeah,
than
but he's
Rita
got a nice
Repulsa.
cameo from Rita on the phone. at
He's
one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Good
phone
cameo.
that I did actually recognize, and I was like, I felt included. Like,
Oh, a reference I get.
Yeah. Also, that folks. So yeah, the Diva. I've forgotten her name already.
Diva Talks?
Diva Dogs. Diva Dogs calls Rita Repulsa to help deal with to get advice to kill the Power Rangers. And my favorite part about that scene is it implies that all of these enemies sleep in their costumes
Yeah.
because she's in bed with
Yeah,
a
but-
different villain. So they sleep in their costumes, which I think is wonderful.
That's genuinely the only good bit of the film. I would say
Uh,
that's an okay.
I enjoyed her scenes now that I'm reminded of them. Yeah, she actually had personality.
Yes, because I imagine the director kept going, make it bigger, do it bigger.
Leave the first one. Just do what Ivan Ooze did. Yeah.
Oh, nowhere near as good as Ivan Ooze. Nowhere near as good as Ivan Ooze.
Was it a Star Wars reference when she chopped off that guy's hand?
I think so, but also
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there was loads of Star Wars references for no reason. Like no one who watched Star Wars is like, oh, I'm gonna watch Turbo.
Yeah, so back to the trying to put together the story. As far as I remember, they get new Zords and their cars. One of them
Yeah.
gets a shit truck. The
They're
rest of them
just
get.
pretty much straight up cars. I was
Yeah.
kind of expecting
Hey.
them to be like,
They have big headlights. They are cars with big headlights.
yeah, I was expecting them to be kind of more like racer
No.
cars, like Formula One kind of kart style cars or something. But no, like we have a minivan, a truck.
Pickup. Like I
Pickup.
mean, the red car's all right. The red cars at
Cool.
least looks like it's fast. The rest are just big,
Cars.
chunky cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really like Land Rover-y kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they a new work because they always get every Power Ranger has like a way to turn into the Power Ranger, and this one it's a key to the car.
Yeah.
But the key also sails a pirate ship. Don't forget that.
It does. It sails a ghost ship.
And if they hold them all together, they go through blue jelly,
Mhm.
and then they're at the not Bermuda Triangle.
And-
That annoyed me so much. Like, why just call it the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah,
Well,
it is supposed to be the Bermuda Triangle, isn't it? It
the
was called something
copyright.
else.
Like the disaster.
Did they not afford the word Bermuda?
the disaster zone.
No, they couldn't afford triangle.
I feel like the underrated bit about, and we did need to talk about the costumes. We need to talk about the Power Ranger costumes in this because number one, the masks have headlights.
Yep.
Huge fan of the masks with headlights.
I mean, it's practical.
It is practical.
They're in a cave at one point. They,
Yeah.
you know, the headlights come on. They're very useful. They don't immediately turn off when they're outside, though.
No, and
It's also annoying that they do have headlights, and for a large portion of the film, they are in a very dark ship that they never once put their cloak in.
yeah, they have headlights.
And that is one thing I was hoping that maybe one of you guys might be able to explain to me is why aren't they always in their Power Rangers costumes?
I imagine.
I don't know why. I don't know why. This is my assumption, but I think they're uncomfortable.
I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
imagine
budget.
they're quite warm.
Because like they get into fights and scraps and stuff,
all
and
the time.
like they're
I-
going through Africa and that, and I'm thinking like surely,
It's hot.
yeah, but maybe they'd have gone faster in a car.
They didn't have the cars then.
Oh, do they not? Oh,
No.
I don't know.
No, they have the cars.
In the bit in Africa, the Pink Ranger morphed, right? But she hit the water, so it stopped her morphing. And I'm like, is that all it takes?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you just have.
Sure, that's such an
The next villain just has a water pistol with them at all times.
but I know you always only seen 2 films, right? But it's so like obvious when they're gonna do it, right? They make a whole big fucking deal about it. They're like, it's morphin' time, and then they shout the name of everything they're doing, right? In that period of time, you literally could just walk to the top, get a cup of water, and come back and throw it on them. Like, not
Well-
anymore, it's not, motherfucker.
It's those morph suits. If they get wet, they're horrible to wear.
It just makes
Do
Yeah,
whatever you
it
can.
wasn't clear. I thought that it might be one of those sort of, you know, when people get sort of spliced or something when their transformation doesn't go quite right. And I thought she'd come out with like maybe one leg and one
With
arm and
half
like
the
half her
suit.
face.
See, that would have been at least good, right? If there was like a
Yeah.
fucked up suit on, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It's some weird body horror shit.
Yeah. Some The Fly.
I mean, they're already. They might as well lean into the PG rating.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
Um,
the ship.
One step back from the ship. So the Blue Ranger is currently unconscious. He's dead as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
He's dead in this. He died when he fell out of the boxing ring, right? This is where we learn that Zordon is perfectly fine with child soldiers.
Yep.
This is where when they get to the ship, they're like, the Blue Ranger isn't with them, and we learn the Blue Ranger's truck turns up and a child gets out. with
Yeah,
the-
it's Rocky's like brother or cousin or
Yeah.
something, isn't it?
Isn't
Yeah.
it like some sort of weird orphan from the shelter?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an orphan from the shelter, right? But
But isn't his dad the person who runs the boxing ring or something?
his dad runs a
It's a really bad
one
orphan.
era. But that's what, it's just so confusing. So it's like his
Yeah.
dad still is alive and runs a dojo, but his kid's in it.
Hmm?
Oh, none of it makes sense, right?
No.
I just want to quickly touch something you brought up, Michael. Right? Rocky falls out of a ring and hurts his back and can't be a Power Ranger anymore.
Yep.
Literally, the last film, he was fighting a dinosaur skeleton and was fine.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
shot multiple times and just carried on with it. But a fall from 6 foot, fuck, well, I'm out, I'm afraid.
Well,
Yeah, you do
I-
think that like Zordon would chime in at this point, or at least Alpha would come around with some sort of magic healing goo and be like, "Oh, okay, you've not fractured your spine anymore."
Mhm.
In
Yeah.
the last film, the 5 of them just cared enough about Zordon that he came back to life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, no one gives a shit about Rocky. They're like,
No.
"Ah, it's
But
Just tell Rocky he can't come.
if they did, we wouldn't have the best scene in the movie, which is when the kid transforms into the Blue Power Ranger and just gets taller.
Transforms into
He
a
grows
dude.
like 2
Right.
feet.
Yeah,
How old
grows-
is this kid supposed to be? Because I thought they had to be teenagers.
No, he just grows into the stuntman. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or something. It's mad.
I would have loved if they got a child stuntman. I would have loved that.
I was kind of expecting them to. I was genuinely a bit disappointed that it's
No.
just.
adult.
Full man
Yeah.
stuntman.
That
Um,
makes me think: was Lerigo a child actor or?
I actually don't know. I think
Right.
Lego might just have been a puppet.
Was he a puppet?
Because
Yeah.
I think whenever I said about the baby being like they were chucking it around, I think it didn't actually move. It was like it was attached to another puppet or something. Do you mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
So I think Lego probably was a puppet, I imagine. Or
I'm
something.
gonna have a look. Oh no,
So we're-
Lerigo was a guy in a suit.
If you told me it was Warwick Davis, I'd lost my mind.
No, it's not. It's his name is John Simanton. I mean, the face was clearly like animatronics and
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, he was in the suit by the looks of things.
But again, Zordon is perfectly fine with child soldiers, and I feel like we skipped over that. Power Rangers are essentially soldiers.
Do you know
Send
what else
children.
real fucked about that as well?
Yeah.
Zordon obviously knows he's sending the kid, and he knows the Power Rangers will kick off, right? So he's like, "You go ahead, I'll send the Blue Ranger after you." So then they've left, and then Justin the child turns up. So clearly Zordon's like, "Oh, they're not gonna like this." Alpha, tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, and then they get on the ship. Does Zordon just like fucking with the Power Rangers? Because he does a lot of fucking with the Power Rangers in this film.
I genuinely think Zordon is just an idiot, but he's so powerful, no one's questioned it.
Yeah,
Right.
'Cause-
Like, he's just a magic idiot.
is he designing the suits? Because he gave them lips this time.
Yeah.
Like he gave them headlights and lips, like built
I
into.
swear
the
they had
suit.
lips last time.
They were. I swear they were more pronounced this time.
Maybe, yeah.
Then what was also weird is he gave all of the women Power Rangers skirts, so you knew.
Yeah, that I thought was a bit weird
It's
because they're already. You
Mhm.
know who they are because they always wear their color.
Yeah, they're
human
colour
clothes
coordinated.
anyway. But yeah, they had funny little
That-
skirts on.
Fucking remind me when you.
It's a
said-
bit like Star Trek, old Star Trek.
Yeah, when you said they're all color coded. So the kid is in back. I'm getting this film in flashback. When the kid is in the hospital room with the Blue Ranger, with
Yeah.
Rocky, and the Power Rangers get called away, and he's hiding under the bed, and he comes out and he's like, "My God, you were the Rangers the entire time." Fucking yes, kid. They are a group of 5 teenagers, all color coded, all know martial arts. Who do you think is the Power Rangers?
Oh, can I also just point when we're talking about this? Now, fuck the Bulk and Scholar police officers.
Oh yeah, that was so weird.
Are they police officers or security guards?
I thought they
or-
were faking it. I thought they were like pretending to be police officers, but no,
they're police officers.
they were.
Bulk and Skull are in this film too much.
Yep.
That
In my
guy,
opinion.
that guy who is like the police chief who's telling them to like cover for him at 3 o'clock or whatever is in the show all the time as the head of police. So I'm assuming they're
Oh.
police
Mhm.
officers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're in this film fit way too much.
Yeah, so they get bamboozled by some sort of
Spaceship.
spell.
Yeah, and they think they're German.
Yeah, and umpar music plays whenever they're speaking.
Yeah.
It was a bit weird. It seemed a bit of an odd choice.
Well,
You say that, but did you watch the rest of the movie?
did you? It might have been explained in when it was cut out. It might have been cut out. But I think Bulk is German, Skull is Spanish because he calls himself Antonio Banderas. I don't know why that stuck in my
Oh.
head, but it did. They're just not good at accents. And they've got like white hair for the rest of the film.
Yeah, so you know that they're bamboozled. Something ain't right.
Evil.
Everyone knows people with white hair are evil. That's
Yeah.
the key thing to take away from this movie.
And that's why I
Yeah.
hate all old people.
Yeah,
Inherently evil.
that's why Zordon's bald.
He's neutral. He is powerfully neutral.
Zordon's got a thick mane of white hair and he has to keep shaving it so the Rangers don't catch on that he's an idiot. A big evil idiot.
Just
Every,
like-
every time he's not in the weird floaty face thing, it's like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus, and it's just like, whoop.
Also, different Zordon actor than the last film, which
How
is
was it?
disappointing. I think.
On the when they're on the ship, a rare bit of praise. I thought the weird turtle monsters got on this ship looked all right. That
Yeah.
was about the highlight of the film. I think
They
they
look
were like, those are probably the best monsters Power Rangers have ever actually fought. And I'm not saying they're good, but I mean comparatively,
They did look pretty
Would-
cool.
Yeah,
What do you mean they're not just guys in weird suit armor?
well, yeah.
The rest of them.
I did all, but it also then was followed by the bit I hated the most, which was whenever all of them were dead bar one, and that turtle just looked at them all and then ran to the edge of the ship because it was afraid, and someone just scooped it over the edge, and that was it. And I was like, what an unnecessary scene of this film for a turtle to be like, well, I'm not going to deal with this fight, so I'm just going to leave, and it just walked off.
Yes, and that isn't even the first time they fight. That's like the first fight in the film, really. And it's like 45 minutes in.
It took so long for some kicking. That's all I associate with Power Rangers is kicking, and it just wasn't in there at the start. I mean, apart from like the proper fighting bit where they were like at the dojo, but that doesn't count.
Boring is what that is.
Yeah, because that's like fighting that's realistic, right? I want to see people doing the ninjutsu spin kicks and stuff. Like I don't want genuine fights. I want it to be unnecessary.
Yeah,
and
I
when
want
they
triple
shout the name.
skin turbo blaster.
Yeah, I want them to shout the name before they kick someone.
They really didn't do that this time. They just
They-
said their car names. But there was no like
That is true.
like in the ninjetti. That was the name of it. Yeah. In the ninjetti one, they announced so many moves, and it was great.
Yeah, I really like that. Like I think we talked last time about whatever. What was it, like pterodactyl whip?
Yeah, the pterodactyl whip.
A dinosaur that famously doesn't have a tail, which is just really funny.
No, but they got
I realized
caught.
in this film that Tommy's catchphrase is "aya," and it made me laugh how much he said it. To the point where like that was the only probable joy I got was every time Tommy was in the fight, he's "aya, aya, aya," at every possible opportunity.
It's great. Yeah, I'm trying. So yeah, they get off the ship onto an island. The entire time, the two other Power Rangers are trying to break out of a submarine. Yeah, when
because they're kept alive because they're going to be sacrificed.
to evil demon fire god.
I don't remember his name.
Liquid
so.
hot magma man.
Magma Boy. They're on the submarine, and the I can't remember her name again. Her name's
It's a
never.
spoonerism of Toxic Diva. Her name's Diva Tox.
Yeah, Diva. Yeah, she's just yelling her plan to herself. That she's gonna. So her plan is to marry the fire god, which is a strange. Is there like an official wedding ceremony that they have to do?
But it's not even really explained. It's just like I'm gonna fire or marry him because then I'll be powerful by association. Like that seems to be her whole.
Yeah, she basically just wants, because she's a pirate, she just wants to go around looting, and this guy's sort of a good match because he'll be able to help her.
And I'm like, you're perfectly capable on your own. You don't need him to help you.
Yeah, she's already got long head man and circle skeleton man.
Oh yeah, that guy's head was upsetting.
Yeah, he was. But Circle Skeleton Man, I fucking loved. I was like, he's the best. The
Oh,
best.
doesn't she basically say at one point, "Fuck off, you Christmas ornament"?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's this weird head man is her nephew repeatedly in the film, and I was like, that's fucked.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened for him to be her nephew, but I don't like it.
I think at one point she said, "I want a better nephew," which is that why she gets nephews? Her poor like brother or sister.
But also, she was able to just like manifest those turtle men, so just make a better nephew. Why are you moaning?
Have a turtle man for a nephew.
Yeah,
why
but
is she
create
calling?
people? Just do it.
Why is she calling him a nephew?
It's so weird.
It's so bizarre. But yeah, they get to an island where there's fire. They turn into the Power Rangers. The child becomes a man.
Yeah.
The child literally becomes a man, and then they fight in a volcano. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because Diva Tox has kidnapped Lerigo's wife and child because Lerigo fucks.
Here.
And so Lerigo's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, we'll get the other two rangers that captured back by swapping them for Lerigo.
That was real fucked, sincerely. At one point, whenever they're like, Lerigo, help, or open the door, he's like, I won't do it, or whatever. And then they open the thing and just pick up his baby, and I'm like, alright, this is a children's film. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? And then he just does it, and I'm like, were they threatening a infant?
Threatening a baby,
She was gonna
yeah.
smush it.
Yeah, I was like, this is real fucked. Like,
Just something had some Hills Have Eyes vibes to it.
it was so like, it was just a step up, right? Because the rest was all kind of like, oh, we're gonna take over the earth and like real like silly like cartoony stuff. And this is like, I'm gonna kill your baby.
Oh yeah, if you don't do what I say, I'm gonna kill your wife and child in front of you.
It just took such a massive step up. Like, it's so unnecessary.
I mean, throughout the film, they're pretty open about how much they torture those Ewok things.
Yeah, it's real
'Cause-
bad. Like.
Because they're like, oh, it looks like he. At one point, they're like, oh, it looks like he's dying, and she says, like, don't let him. He can't die before we get there. That's fucked.
Yeah.
This is a kids' film.
Nah, it's Lerigo. He should die. I just have an insane hatred towards it. This is like the opposite of Gurgi from Black Cauldron. Like
Yeah.
Lerigo just there was something in me that was just full of hatred. Whenever
I
Lerigo
liked
was on
him.
screen, I was like, no!
I really like the idea of like if we were the Power Rangers and we get sent to do that, and Dad's just like, "What the fuck is that?" Just shoots it dead. And I'm
But-
like, Dad, we went to see him. And you're like, "I don't give a shit. Look at him, he's awful."
But if
And
I
Dad-
shot it dead, it couldn't do the magic to open the portal to hell. So it's fine.
It's just very funny. You teleport back, and Zordon's like, "You did what?" And he's like, "I guess that's good."
Oh man,
There's a
Like,
reason
yeah.
I'm not the Red Ranger.
So
You've
we've
never
got to the
been
bit
a
of the
Red
film
Ranger.
that I really didn't like, and that was
Only
the
one bit.
natives.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
that was a bit
island.
weird, yeah.
I
Which-
was sort of expecting it to be some sort of, you know, a lot of the time you have these kind of native tribal hostile people, and they come in and they're like threatening them with spears or whatever, and then it turns out it's all like either a joke or a ploy, or they're actually very civilized and normal and healthy, whatever. But no, these guys don't get that. They are just savages, and
Yeah,
it's
just
a
weird
bit
dancing, like...
it's a bit backwards.
Yep.
Yeah,
Even for 1997, it was like you could give these people a bit of, you know, not this.
Oh, they had it. It was all cut. Yeah.
It might have all
I mean,
been
that could be it.
Yeah.
I would say though, and this is not to defend this film because I want to make it clear. I think it's fucked. I think it's, I don't think it. But I would say that most of the times, whenever there's an example of like tribal people, and it's a real cooked where it's like, oh, they're like savages that believe in something. At least in this sense, what they believed in was actually true.
Yeah,
The canon of this film, what they believed did actually happen. So in a sense, it's not as bad, I think, but it's still not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
And Divatox didn't know that those people were on the island.
Yeah, she's really not thought her plan through.
Yeah,
but then they
no.
worship her, and she's like, "Yes, worship me." And I'm like, "This is getting real
Yeah.
colonial."
it's like she didn't know they were there, but then she knows their name. But it's like she's surprised they were there. Like, where did she think they were? I was supposed to know
Yeah.
who those people are. She's like, oh, these guys are here.
These fellas.
Yeah. And then when they're there, they're slowly sacrificing Kimberly and Jason at a plot convenient pace.
Yes.
Just-
Very...
Yeah,
Weirdly-
they're suspended over the pit to be
Yeah.
lowered into be sacrificed.
And then they come back as evil and they fight the Power Rangers, and I was like, oh wow, something's
Well,
happening.
You
They-
can tell they're evil because they're acting kind of sexy.
And they've got red eyes, but you
Yeah,
probably
well,
couldn't
I
tell
don't know
because you
what-
had really bad like.
No, I knew they had red eyes. I remember that.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
was evil as red eyes done. I'm not stupid.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
But yeah, Helen was entirely right. They were unnecessarily sexy.
Yeah.
When they were trying to seduce everyone they were trying to kill, I was like, what's happening here?
It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She was also just bitchy. Like the girl just came back and she was just kind of mean to everyone for
Yeah.
before actually trying to kill them. It was really
It was like,
bizarre.
friends.
And then Lerigo uses plot magic to make
That
her
was the
better.
best part. That was incredible.
And then he's trying to like kill the other Red Ranger, and then
That
oh,
whole
no.
that
Oh.
whole sequence was incredible because so one of them was they were just holding someone over the edge of the fire. There's a
Yeah,
big
the other
fire
Red
in the middle
Ranger,
of the
yeah.
fire. Yeah. And she's just stood there, and that's my favorite part. She is just stood there going, "Yes, kill him, burn it. Yes, do it." Drop him.
She is like an NPC just on a loop, right? Like she's
Yeah.
no real. But I actually do know something about this scene, which is the one reshoot they had to do, which is apparently in this scene. Whenever Kimberly like smashes her shackles, like just yanks them apart because she's got evil strength
Yeah.
now. Apparently, Jason instead of like breaking his, he backflips over Tommy and chokes him till he passes out with them. But like around his neck, and they're like they had to reshoot that because like there's no edit that we can put that in. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. If all the kids are kicking each other because of these movies, then we're gonna end up with a
that's
lot of
not
strangled
funny.
kids.
That was a move.
But then that's weird though, because then he strangles him over the edge of the cliff. But apparently, when you do it with a chain, it's not okay. But do it with both hands is fine.
It's because
They-
normally
they-
in schools you can't find a pit into lava, but
That's true.
you can find someone to strangle someone with.
Also, we don't know how intense they filmed the strangling. It might have been like really far.
It's just like blood
It's just
spurting
like-
out.
Yeah,
of it.
he's like foaming at the mouth and turns like bright blue,
Yeah.
and he's like convulsing.
That is Jason used to be the Red Ranger, right? So maybe like the actual actor was like, I should have been the Red Ranger. It's like actually just smacking him off the ground. Everyone's like, Jesus, Austin, stop.
It's
Trying to
acting.
calm down.
And I don't think that they wouldn't notice until they got back to the edit, and they were like, "That's a bit far."
And also in this scene is a very funny bit, right? Where Tommy has his helmet off for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
remember why his helmet's off, right?
I think
Because
it's
he's trying to talk her into not being.
Oh yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And then the cut they do is so funny, where they throw the helmet to him and he lifts it up, and then they just cut and it's on his head because he had too long a hair, obviously, to put the helmet on. And obviously every time they put it on, he had to like stop and smush his hair in the back. They just cut it so it's like immediately on his head. There's like a third of a second missing. That's just like him pulling it down top of his head, then it's just on. It's just
What-
like a very
What would
brief-
have happened if the Blue Ranger took his helmet off?
He would have become a child again.
Or just a child's head, but like the adult body.
I wanted that to happen. I really, through that entire fight, I was like, I want them to have to animate a child's head onto that guy's body.
So is this the bit in Power Rangers where it part of these were the Japanese people most of the time, or was this whole film shot
Yeah.
with?
I think this film, most of it, not all of it, certainly most of it, I think is genuinely like filmed like for this movie.
Yeah, I think the films are made entirely independently without
Okay.
any archive footage. And I think a lot of the shows now are filmed without archive footage.
Yeah.
It's like the old ones that were like, but yeah, it would be the fight scenes would be the Japanese stuff.
So I
which is why
thought
they
maybe
make it
that's
like
why
that.
they had to have that kid be taller, because I thought maybe the Japanese dude was just taller and they didn't have a kid, and then like there was a miscommunication.
I just think they can't get. Do you reckon they made a Japanese film that was this specific?
I
'Cause
hope this film exists.
I don't think they could have made one that made less sense.
I'd really like to watch the Japanese version of this if it exists. Like I know that sounds mad, but I think just because Japan, whenever they make like fuck films, know how to make fuck films, right? And
Yeah,
America,
that's
when they
true.
do, they're just like, let's just have a load of things happen. Let's just put a number of things in a tombola, pull them out, and just do them in that order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then the lava man comes out and he gets giant, and then they finally use their cars for the second time in the
Oh,
movie.
No, they before that they all get guns. No,
Oh
most of
yeah,
them
They get
guns.
weapons, but
One
you
gets a
use
bow
them
and
like for 30 seconds tops.
Well,
Yep.
they spend a minute telling you what all of the weapons are, and I can't remember a name for any of
Yeah,
them.
It's
I
'cause
feel
none
like
of them-
that scene was just the advert.
yeah. None
Well,
of them
they-
sound
yeah.
as good as like pterodactyl whip, because what is
No.
it going to be like? You know,
It's like
One of them was a
Volkswagen
bow with no
revving.
arrows.
It's a Jeep rifle. That was the wind. That was the wind bow, as far as I can remember.
Go
Wind-
Subaru reversing.
Windbreaker.
Windbreaker.
Windbreaker and Mountain Blaster are the only ones I know. And
Yeah.
I know Mountain Blaster is the kids one because I had that toy as a kid.
Oh yeah,
And it said Mountain Blaster in huge letters at the bottom of it.
I love them explaining and shouting out the weapon names took so long that they had to do cutaways to the enemy's reaction
Yeah.
because it just took so long for them to get through it. And then when they got through it and they were ready to shoot, all of the guns did the same thing.
Yep.
They all shot weird lasers. And I would have killed for them to cut to the girl with the bow who just standing there with her arm out, lasers coming out. I was expecting them to all do different things and it be a cool fight. They just stood there.
I think in the show, all those weapons combine together to make one big gun, which then shoots one beam, which I'm like, well, that's counterproductive.
Easier to dodge.
Like, you had 5 guns before, now you've just got one. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, then they went outside. The actor in the fire guy suit got stuck in a wall. That was my favorite shot when he had to kick down a styrofoam wall and he got stuck. And then they cut away. That was incredible. I
then-
love how much they left in this film
Yeah.
that was just shit. It's just
And-
like clearly he didn't get another take.
I mean, it was 3 hours beforehand.
Imagine if this was the best footage.
That's
left.
what I mean. There must be so much shit in that version that no one has seen, right?
So you're saying you want Turbo Power Rangers Snyder cut?
In a way, I do, but I don't think it exists. I think that's probably better for me that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Deleted forever. Well, when you said like the only thing they reshot was that fire scene, did they only film everything once? Because it has the vibe of.
I think as in like they had to go back and shoot it. I think.
Oh yeah, no, I mean in general, like this film has the vibe of they only did one take of everything.
Oh yeah, probably. But
That's
I
one
think
thing.
I think that one was specifically because it was like, you can't put that in more than this is shit. Because if the line is we can't put this in because it's shit, it's just going to be a normal episode of Power Rangers.
Yeah. Oh, I wish they were a bit more violent though. If it was like genuinely like violent and aggressive, it
There's,
would have been so much better.
There's like a short film on YouTube that's got like James Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek in it, playing like adult like Tommy, and like as an absolute cunt, and it's real good. Like, and they're all like just straight up murdering people. Like, it's mental.
That I might watch that.
Yeah.
It's good. Big recommend. Better than this.
Oh, that's not
Everything
hard
is
though.
better.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
As
because
you know.
they drive all their cars into each other
Right.
to make
Come
one
on.
big Pacific Rim style car, and that's not the only Pacific Rim reference.
See, whenever they're all driving the cars, were you like, hey, that guy's the size of a mountain. 5 cars together aren't going to be very big. Cars just were like, oh, we better get 10 times the size. All the cars expanded suddenly, and I was like, what is happening?
I'm a big
he
fan
was
of-
a monster of variable size.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am a big fan of how big the cars are on the inside.
Yep.
Like whenever it comes to an interior shot of the car, they're massive. That is at the most a Ford car.
I thought for a long time, right, I was like, these are like, they're Megazords, really. They just happen to be shaped like cars, right? So obviously they kind of work on their own. Who taught that child to not just drive a car, but drive an alien Megazord car? Surely he hasn't a fucking. Imagine that would be a much better ending, right? If they're like Megazords combined, they turn out and the blue one is just veered off.
Got like the indicator
Tommy,
on it.
Tommy,
is reversing.
clutch. You have to put the clutch down. Okay, you've got then the ignition. Okay, yep. No, middle one's the brake.
The boot opens.
I've got the windscreen wipers start going. He's freaking out. I don't know what to do.
And then he
What
gets
is-
stood on by the lava guy.
Yeah, that guy just stands up like, oh no, Justin's dead. And just comes back to Zordon and he's like, ah.
I assume like Zordon or Alpha taught him to drive.
Yeah, he mentions it as like, yeah, he gave me a crash course. Thankfully, Zords you don't need a license to drive a Zord. You should.
Yeah, no. So
They're weapons.
so far, Zordon is perfectly fine with child soldiers, underage driving, and giving weapons to children. Zordon is not a nice person.
The
Oh,
only
and the-
redeeming quality of Zordon is he leaves that disgusting fuck to die in Africa.
He was trying to kill it from the beginning.
Yeah, he knew what had happened.
So I'll send off these rubbish Power Rangers, and then it looks like I'm helping. They'll inevitably fuck it up. He'll probably die before they get there.
You think,
I don't look bad. They
You know-
don't look bad. It's fine.
there's always like new Power Rangers like every year or so. Do you think this was Zordon's way of trying to kill him? He's like, I'll just send him to Africa. And then they
Yeah.
turn-
With
he's like,
what
"Oh,
was
what are
he
you
sent them off with like what was the smallest bottle of water
Yeah, no.
they've ever seen?
Oh, hold on. Can we talk about the fucked backpacks they have?
They kind of
What the fuck was that? It's a gigantic backpack. And Tommy pushes a button and makes unnecessarily loud mechanical noise. And then like the small, like a shot glass of water comes out. Look at that, like technology from the 70s they have. It's not even impressive.
It reminds me of that, them really shit like tea and coffee machines that you can get, like just in a hospital, and you press the button and you inevitably miss the cup.
Well, isn't it? Yeah, because she's walking around. She's like, "Oh, I feel." She's like, "I feel dizzy." He's like, "Do you want a drink?" Yeah, one sip of water. I assume the backpacks. I assume they were sold as toys. I hope they were sold as toys. I can't think of another reason they exist.
Yeah, it's a backpack that is also a water pistol.
Yeah, I imagine it's got like a shit bottle of water in it. That's it.
That's what I was going to say. What kid in the world's like, Mom, I really want that. I really want the Power Rangers backpack.
Well, if you
You know,
get that
I-
backpack, you can stop them from turning into the Power Rangers because you've got a small shot of
It's
water.
true.
That's true. I think we said last time, one of the redeeming features of the first film, which are very few and far between, is the fact that the last film ends with the bad guy getting kneed in the balls, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And this film is literally just like they put all the cars together and just hit him with a sword, and it's like, well, that's that.
Yeah, they don't even have a proper fight. They're just like, well, they have a bit of a fight, and then they pull a sword out of nowhere and cut him in half in one go. And I'm like, oh.
Yes.
Like, you should have started with that, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Them becoming the big. What's the big Zorb called?
The Megazord.
Megazord.
Megazorb. That them becoming the Megazorb is longer than the fight.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Well,
And
the
also
cast
a
is
mixed
okay.
media production of. Did anyone else notice that it sort of cuts to CGI for like
Yeah.
2 seconds,
I'm-
and then it's very clearly just a model.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed that the Megazord isn't shit chrome CG, PS1 level CGI again.
Yeah, I sort of assumed that that's what we were getting. Is this film earlier than the other
No,
one?
it's after.
No, it's
It's
after,
after.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's a much lower budget, and here's the real fucked thing, like just like continuity wise, right? This is a sequel to the first one, like in canon.
Mm.
But the first one is not in canon of the TV show, but this one is.
Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
it is both in the canon of the show and a sequel to the first one, so in the canon of the first one, but the first one is not in the canon of the show. It's like a separate universe. I don't know how that works, but they have managed it.
This film, like this
I
film,
hate this. Like I'm not. I get it all the time, right? See, if I don't like a film, I never think about it again. I just forget it. There's two films in the world I hate, and this is one of them. And I fucking detest this.
Yeah.
In
this
fact,
is the other film.
I'm
So
looking
did
at
you
my-
hate it when you were a kid?
No, I think I just liked it because it was big guns and fighting, right? I didn't really give a shit.
There was some big guns, one big bow.
Yeah. But I have my letterboxd open here. I'm sure I've given this 1 star. Live on the podcast, I've updated to half star. There you go.
See,
That is an exclusive for everyone.
I can't do that
Yeah.
because there's only one film worthy of half star.
Yeah.
Like using the sword isn't even like the end fight. The end fight is Rocky's recovered and he does his little boxing match and they win 25 grand.
That's not even Rocky. That's Jason the Red. Like the
Is
race
it?
they brought.
I
yeah,
thought
it's
Rocky had
Rocky.
come back and was okay.
No, Rocky's dead.
Like, yeah, Rocky's there, but he's just watching. And they
Yeah,
they
he's
don't even
injured.
reference him. They're just like, oh, there's Rocky. There he is in the background.
Just
I was like,
there, his spine in bits.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the last film was like, oh, we'll reference at the very start. You know, there's a big comet, and that'll lead into the end of the fight.
Mhm.
But actually, this film is like the Power Ranger stuff's incidental, and it's leading to them winning the money at the normal just Taekwondo competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This big fight, and we've accidentally found Jason. He'll win the money for us. Do you mean? It's like the Power Ranger stuff's just so incidental. But what they're really aiming for is to save the shelter, which is madness.
Which has absolutely nothing to do with the end of the world.
I think I have a reasoning other than just the fact the plot's mad of why this is so much worse. So you know in the last film we were saying how like all the Power Rangers are terrible and like they're barely sentient, like they don't talk at all.
Mhm.
In this one, everyone's given an equal amount of acting, and it's very obvious they're all shit. It's very obvious they should have just let Tommy do it because as much as he's not a good actor, he's at least charismatic, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
No, he is hands down the best actor in it again, but unfortunately the others also speak.
So I think Adam, who's the Black Ranger, I think he's Green Ranger in this, but he's Black
Yeah.
Ranger in the last one. I think he's a perfectly fine actor, right? He's in like loads of stuff like currently, but just as a voiceover artist. He's like always meant to be the comic relief, but they never put any jokes in it for that to be obvious, right? 'Cause in the last film,
Right.
they're like,
I didn't know there was comic relief in this film.
like that last film, they're like, oh, he's the frog, ha ha ha. In this one, apparently there's a recorded joke of him being like, last time I was a frog, this time I get a minivan. What am I gonna have next? A hamster. And like that's like, a good line, but at least it's a joke, right? And apparently he did that like improving it, and the director shouted cut and shouted at him. I was like stuck to the script, and I was like, how could you be so precious of this script?
Yeah,
How
that is weird.
so much about these lines.
Oh, it must have killed the director when all the actors are like, "We need to cut this down from 3 hours." How did that director think that 3 hours was fine?
I hate this so much. I fucking hate this movie.
So can we just quickly talk about, just before we
There's
finish,
so much you can talk about this film.
the transformation into the Megazord?
Mhm.
It was not phallic, but like the way it like slotted together was
Yeah.
not great.
No, it's very like some of the cars have holes and other cars have pegs.
Yeah.
Like, but like in the last one, it's like everything just had gears that kind of like click together. Right, this one is very like everything's entering something.
Yeah, that's. I think it was just the level of sort of on-screen penetration. I
Yeah.
wasn't really. I wasn't keen.
Not something you expect from a Power Rangers movie is on-screen penetration.
All I've learned is I do not know what to expect from a Power Rangers movie.
No.
I think after the last one, I was like, maybe I'll go back and watch the Power Rangers, and after this one, I never want to think about them again.
Yeah, no, done with that.
So,
Yeah.
out of 10, Mac, we'll start with you. You've already sort of given this away.
What am I giving a 10 out of? What's the rating?
What do you want to give it a 10 out of? Because I've got one for me, but I'll wait for...
Horrible Furby man. It's a minus 100. Worst thing I've ever watched. It made me physically angry at the time. I literally gripped my desk at one point and shouted, "What the fuck is this?"
It took me 3 goes to watch this film.
I watched it in 2 chunks because I couldn't sit through it the whole way. Like, it was breaking me.
It's a bit long.
A bit long.
Yeah, it
And they
just
cut
kept
it
going.
I know.
Songs out of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this just one bad German accent out of 10. Like I really thought I'd missed something. And that I'd gone to the loo longer than I thought, or I don't know. At one point I did go and get a snack, and then I came back and I had no idea what was happening. But I didn't exactly know what was happening before then, so I'm starting to suspect I didn't actually miss any critical information. It's the critical information was cut. I've read through some of the trivia that explains some of the footage that was edited out, and I can sort of wrap my head around a bit more of the plot now. But that's not how movies work. So
No.
yeah, one out of 10. Yeah, never again. Even though it's free on, you know what? The only saving grace is I didn't have to pay any fucking money for this film,
Yeah.
because I'd have been much more cross if I'd had to fork out for it.
I think I genuinely would have paid you for it. I think I actually would have given you the money.
So I think I'd go with like 3 unique turbo weapons that all just fire the same laser. 3 because, well, no, 2. I'm gonna go for 2.
Yeah, you sure?
So,
I'm
yeah,
Final answer.
2.
You're making the right decision.
Go with 2 because 1 is reserved for a special kind of film, and there is very little redeeming about this film. But I think after the first 45-minute mark, it is like, at least I don't know if it's because like a Stockholm syndrome feeling that I had, but after the first 45 minutes, I was like, I'm invested now. I need to at least vaguely pay attention to it. Because nothing happens in the first 45 minutes. Absolutely nothing. As soon as they can turn into the Power Rangers, cool. At least there's fight scenes to watch. They're stupid, but at least they're there to watch. So yeah, 2. But you just have to get through that the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, after this conversation, I've changed my mind. This is 1 out of 10 times they actually used their cars. This could have been a 10-star movie if they'd have killed Lerigo. If Lerigo died at any point, that would be a 10, straight up. I wouldn't care. Like, most of my notes are, I hope this is how Lerigo dies. Like,
Man, would you have liked this film if it was like Rocky 4, right? But in the first 5 minutes, they just kill a weird alien man, and it's just Tommy training in the mountains of Africa to win a title competition.
yeah, like Lerigo dies, and then Divatox is just trying to figure out what the fuck to do now, and like seeing if the wife can actually do magic, but no.
They never meet David Talks in this film. It's just Tommy training in the mountains. That's the whole movie.
At least
And
it would have been a you.
Yeah,
Yep, every so often it cuts
Maybe
back
not
to
with the
Rocky
murder.
having a coma.
it's a murder of a puppet. It's fine. No,
Yeah. I know what gave it 2 stars for me is the Rita Repulsa cameo. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the only thing that's like redeeming about it.
it was really annoying that wasn't Ivan Ooze. And I know why, because he's in the sun, right? He's exploded. I would have liked to be him. It's not like they care about the actual canon of the film, right?
Did any of you guys watch the trailer for this film?
No,
No.
of course, no.
Because it actually is all of the good bits in the film.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, well, then
Just
watch
all
it.
of them. I watched it afterwards, and obviously because you don't have to pay for trailers, and it's not against the law to upload them, I watched it in like vaguely high
good
def.
quality. Yeah.
I could see what was going on. It was still bad, but at least it was only like 90 seconds. The trailer is one of those trailers that tells you it's a plot synopsis.
Yeah.
Is it a classic 90s one where it's got man with deep voice explaining what's happening?
No, slightly higher pitched. I'm telling kids what's going on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But it has everything. It has them sorting up.
Sure.
Um,
I don't think there is a verb for that.
yeah. Getting Zorded. And like it has them fighting the volcanic demon god guy
Cool. Yeah.
in it, and like very clearly going to be him, kind of.
It cuts just before they cut him in half with a sword.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder where this is going.
I just
Um,
remembered his name is Malachor.
Malachor.
Did
That's the name of the
Malachor.
episode. There we go. Malachor.
Yeah, now we've
Malachor.
remembered his name. I have been Dan, not Malachor.
I have been Michael.
That's very close to Malachor.
It is.
I've been
Yeah.
Helena.
Oh, and I'm Mack.
Mac, where can people find you?
I am on the podcast Pointless Reinvention, where we take a normal a topic and try and reinvent it to make it better, and normally make it much worse. And as of yesterday, we now have a bonus episode that me and Matt made up on the fly, where we're going to look at a poster and try and figure out the entire plot of the film from that poster. And it's called Hello, Hello, What's All This Then? And I am on Twitch at the Macaroni Prince, which is my second highest form of income, so go there, more importantly.
Nice. You can find this podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Hilton Pod. That's at HILTM Pod. We're on Discord. All the links will be in the show notes. Thanks for being on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Helen normally says that.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah,
It's
I'm
no
the polite one in the podcast.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I get to yell at people when they pick bad films, and my god, fuck you for making us watch this.
I like Evolution. I have only one memory of it, and it's Sean William Scott singing, and that's it.
Yeah.